Hello, Capricorns. Medicine here. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us in Circle today. So we are doing a weekly reading for the 8th to the 14th. And to start us off, it seems like we are going to be starting out the week a little bit on the rockier side with the High Priestess. With the High Priestess, we first come to the High Priestess. She kind of helps us make decisions on where to turn to. It seems like we are not really using our intuition this week, Capricorns. Perhaps relying a little too much on logic and reasoning. On logic and reasoning to carry us through, and perhaps we are denying the side of us that is very intuitive, the side of Capricorns that are very intuitive and very insightful. There's a lot of insight there with Capricorn energy, and perhaps there's no tapping into that. Perhaps we're not tapping into that in intuition this week with Capricorns, and perhaps because we're not tapping into that that instinct, that intuitive side of ourselves. Perhaps it's not allowing us. Perhaps we are disabling ourselves from growing. And beingness, perhaps, in a sense. Maybe there's a direction which we're supposed to go in, and we kind of surpassed the whole, perhaps our intuition has kind of been calling to us, but we've kind of been ignoring and avoiding it. So that seems to be kind of the intro to the week, if you will, followed by the Fool. So here we go again. Don't necessarily know what we're getting ourselves into, and it seems like we're going into a new direction. However, we might be falling on that new direction right now, perhaps because we didn't listen to our intuition about that new direction. Perhaps because we didn't kind of listen to our instincts and get in touch with ourselves. On that new direction, and it's causing us to kind of start out in the middle of the week very kind of things are falling out of place right now for you Capricorns. However, there seems to be some emotional resolution towards the end of the week with the Three of Cups. It seems that things will start developing in an emotional way, and it seems to me that that's what this week is very much about. It's about tapping into the emotions for you this week, because things do start to get good towards the end of the week, and they start to blossom in an emotional way, and they start to fertilize and grow in an emotional way here with the Three of Cups. It's just such a beautiful card. And then, as our guide here, the Hunter of Death. Now, I've never read about the Hunter of Death, but I have to say that it's very relevant card for this reading. It feels like I'm excited to read about it and see what it has to say. The Hunter of Death. It says, I am the Hunter of Death. I seek the change that comes with new directions and new possibilities. I am not one who breaks or destroys, but one who builds or restores. I will help you to climb beyond the stasis of everyday life and into the place where all potential awaits you. I am death only to dullness and routine, and when you choose me to walk with, I can show you inspiring ways of changing your old life for a new one. The hunter of death. Death can mean many more things than the demise of body or spirit. It can mean death to old ways, death to negativity. It can indicate the cessation of old, worn out ideas or beliefs and the transformation of life into something new. Our ancestors recognized death as a doorway into another world, and the hunter of death helps us to reconnect with this understanding. Death is a watershed, however much we might be anxious about it, and beyond the final stages of our life, particularly if it has now turned stale, await new vistas, new choices, and new pathways toward an unmapped future. And some key words that it gives here is change, awakening, restoration, renewal, new opportunities, breaking old patterns, recognizing the end of a phase, leaving outworn paths, transformation. So let's recap here. Let us recap. I tell you, Spirit works in amazing ways. Let's recap in this, okay? You have the High Priestess. Towards the beginning of the week, it's saying that you're not tapping into your intuitive self, and therefore things are kind of falling out of place. And towards the end of the week, you are learning to be more emotionally and perhaps even intuitively evolved. And the hunter of death is saying, yes, it is time for the old ways to die. Perhaps you are moving into this new way, and perhaps this is something unknown to you, and therefore you're not used to it. And perhaps things are really kind of falling out of place for you. But yes, it is time for the death of the old ways to happen, and allow me, the hunter of death, to help you bring in the new way. Maybe there's some traditions there. Maybe there's some old thought patterns that you have held on to, my earthly Capricorn energies, reigned by Saturn's energy. But I tell you what, there is no Saturn in this spread here. Not this week for you. This week you have Moon's energy that doesn't make any sense at all. It has and very foreign for Capricorns. This week you have the Fool card, okay, which is all about Uranus's energy, okay, and it's all about higher and revolution and rebellion. Again, very foreign for Capricorns. Yet, it is all irresolute, for it brings you a new emotional development, perhaps something you've never discovered before. And the hunter of death wants to help you along this journey. Capricorns, I ask you, work with the hunter of death this week, as long as your other guides that have been given and presented to you, so that you may, in fact, gain this new emotional awareness that you possibly have never had before. In the year 2017, I guarantee it'll be so amazingly helpful for you. Well, that is the word for today. And I love you and Spirit loves you. And I hope you have a graceful week, Capricorns. Aho, Meta-Ascension.